It's time to get real, reality TV aficionados. Welcome to the Giorgio Says podcast. I'm your host, the one and only Giorgio Takanakis, and I'm here serving you the juiciest updates on all your favorite reality shows weekly, as well as the hottest pop culture trends, and even exclusive interviews that will leave you wanting more. This podcast will keep you on the edge of your seat. We definitely need to talk about this. The Giorgio Says podcast starts now. All right, welcome back to another episode of Giorgio Says the podcast. It's Friday, you guys, and on Fridays, I'm going to be recapping Real Housewives of Miami for you. Now, I did post last week based on the ratings. It doesn't seem like a lot of you guys are actually watching Real Housewives of Miami, so I posed a question. If you're not watching, why aren't you watching? Because in my personal opinion, this cast, everything about the chemistry between everyone, the conflict resolution that turns over so quickly on this specific franchise is top tier in my opinion. But I will be recapping Real Housewives of Miami latest episode, Mamacita, luncheon, whatever you want to call it. But basically, it was the Mamacita luncheon from hell. But before I get into that, I want to give you guys a quick update. There is more coming out around Monica and all this stuff regarding the reality Von Teese of it all. But I had said earlier in the Salt Lake City season that I was looking sideways at Monica. And I agree with everyone. She deserves her flowers. She brought it. She made this season epic. But I want to kind of dig in a little bit more into the intent behind what she was trying to do. So we did get some new leaked audio via the Real Andy of Beverly Hills. Shout out to Real Andy of Beverly Hills. He's been on the podcast before, and we need to have him back on soon. But we're going to get into some quick tea. I'm going to share with you the leaked audio that the Real Andy of Beverly Hills has just posted. And it's quite interesting, but it kind of feeds into what my original opinion on Monica and her mom, frankly, was. So let's get into some quick tea. All right, let's get into some quick tea because I want to share this new leaked audio where Monica, I guess, is sharing some voice memos in some text messages about basically her strategy, her intent, her vision of being on a Bravo show at some point. So let's take a listen, and I want you guys to weigh in on what your thoughts are, but I'll obviously let you know what I think. So here we go.
Girl, I know. That's exactly why I called her a snake. Like, you dumb bitch. Like, low-key, I want to DM Mary from, like, a burner account. She probably wouldn't ever see it. And just be like, bitch, I could do it from Reality Von Teese. Okay? But anyway, because we know she'd be watching that shit. And she would open our messages. And just be like, just so you know, Jillian, one of our followers fucking said that she said everything. Just so you fucking know. Bitch, that girl is a fucking dirty rat. She's a rat. One of these types of things. Bravo will not touch you again with a 10-foot pole. And that's exactly what I was saying. I'm not trying to ruin my credibility or name or future like that. Bitch, what happens if fucking Lisa Barlow or Meredith Marks somehow, we don't know, okay, we got in with Jen, we would never be able to do that again. Because, like, look, at the end of the day, my goal is to be a star, bitch. Kind of joking, but also kind of serious. Like, I don't want to ruin my chances for ever being on a Bravo show. Hello! No! You guys, I think I might drive up to Park City because the movers are coming today. What do you guys think? Should I do it to record for, like, BTS reality Von Teese footage?
So as you heard, that was probably not in order whatsoever. But it does sound like this was plotted and that eventually the goal for Monica was to try to end up on Real Housewives or some sort of Bravo show. Based on these voice notes, it lets me also know that my initial conclusion or thoughts around Monica, her behavior on the show, her relationship with her mom was pretty much produced on Monica's part. Now, I know that there was an article that came out yesterday because a lot of you guys said, well, production must have known about this. Now, here's where it gets a little bit conflicting. There was an article that came out yesterday stating that the producers had no idea about any of this, about Reality Von Teese or Monica's involvement in that. But on a live, Monica stated that when she got to Bermuda day one, she told the producers everything. So I'm not sure, if I don't think the producers would come out and say they did know it all along, because obviously that would look like they planted it. But from Monica's standpoint, it's clear that she was strategizing. She knew the whole time coming on the show that there was a high probability that this would come out. And on top of it, it really speaks to, in my opinion, it speaks to the new wave of potential castmates that will show up on these franchises. It seems like a lot of you guys really want her to stay on the show. Now, I think she should stay on the show because I think there's some explaining she needs to do. And I think we also need to get to know Monica a little bit more. It seemed like she was throwing us all these like bits and pieces to kind of deflect, and then we get to the end and only find out that it sounds like from these leaked audio messages that she pretty much was running the account. I'm not saying she was the only one running the account, but she seemed to be heading all of the stuff. Plus, she was the one that was driving around trying to find people's addresses. Tanisha, the hairdresser that used to be friends with Monica, said that she'd asked for Heather's address when Tanisha started working with Heather. And she was like, I'm not going to give you that address. I know what you're going to do with it. So I guess for me, what's throwing me off is that Monica came onto the show acting as if she didn't know these women or didn't know anything about them, never met them that many times. Like with Lisa, yeah, she obviously met her in passing and probably is obviously now we know she's been in Meredith's store before, which is a whole other story. So I guess for me, I'm not a Monica hater, but I'm not gonna stan her. Like, I feel like a lot of people are standing her right now. And I think one of two things, because they've had their initial seasons of the show not do well at all, anything above that is going to be spectacular. Obviously, the finale was epic. We're not going to deny that. All of it was chef's kiss. I will continue to sing the praises. And that wouldn't have been possible without Monica. So again, I'm not trashing Monica here, but let's call a spade a spade. Monica was thirsty and wanted to get on the show, and she figured out a way to do it. Now, I don't know how that's going to pan out long term. I said this yesterday on the podcast. I don't know what that looks like for her long term on the show. I said yesterday on Caitlin's Besties by Bravo podcast as well that I do think that because Monica and Mary are in a good place, that if they bring Monica back, which I think they absolutely will, she will at least have Mary to film with. And I also think that Meredith will come around and eventually film with Monica. So it's really going to come down to Lisa Barlow and Heather. I think Heather is going to put up a big fight at this point. There's also other things going on outside of the show at this point, like the lawsuit between Beauty Lab and Monica and vice versa. So I understand from that standpoint that Heather probably doesn't want to film with this person, but also the cast members don't have a say in who they can and can't film with. Ariana Madix tried to pull that with Vanderpump Rules this upcoming season, and we see from the trailer that she couldn't avoid it. She had to do things where he was in the same space. So they don't have a say in this. They're not producers. They don't call the shots. They don't get to tell people that they can't come back. So with Monica, I think it's going to be for sure we're going to see her again. But I guess it'll be interesting to see how the lay of the land will be. Because I even think Angie will film with her. I really do. I don't think that this is like a dead stop for Monica, but we still have 3 parts of a reunion that we need to watch. And with all this other stuff that's come out since the finale, it's going to be very interesting to say the least. So that's the quick tea. Let me know your thoughts on Monica as a whole and what you think of these leaked audio messages that the real Andy of Beverly Hills posted. And let's get right into the Real Housewives of Miami episode recap. Golly Nutrition is an inventive, people-focused nutrition company committed to providing innovative products that make taking your daily supplements simple and delicious. Their products are formulated with quality ingredients you can pronounce and flavors your taste buds will absolutely enjoy. And at the core of it all, they lead with purpose. Golly for Good is an initiative committed to playing a profound role in supporting the health of our planet as well as our local communities. Learn more about their initiatives, such as B Corp certification, Vitamin Angels partnership, and Eden reforestation projects at their Golly for Good page. And if you use my special code, The Giorgio Says, at checkout, you will receive a special discount. Now let's get back into the episode. All right, guys, it was definitely hot in Miami. The Mamacita luncheon from hell did not go the way Nicole wanted it to go, but we kind of saw this coming at the end of last week's episode where Alexia and Marisol storm out as soon as they see that Anna has been invited. But I do think that conveniently, they will make Nicole the scapegoat for this. I do believe that possibly Nicole knew that Adriana was probably being shady by inviting Anna, but she didn't technically invite her herself. So, I think the real thing should be more towards Adriana, in my opinion. But before Anna even gets there, okay, so Alexia and Marisol have gone off to another bar and went and got themselves some cockies. And in the midst of that, we see Lisa Hochstein and Larsa pull up in Lisa's housekeeper's Honda Fit. Okay. So if you guys remember a couple episodes back, there was talk around, oh, Lisa doesn't have her own car and she needs to have some independence. She can't rely on all the things that Lenny's paying for, down to the car. Why is she driving that car? And then people were throwing out, well, she needs to get herself a little Corolla or something just so that she has something of her own, which I agree. And no, I don't think they were meaning it in the way that Lisa thought she was going to drive this Honda Fit and like prove them something with whatever that was supposed to be. Because I don't see how you can slice that and not offend your housekeeper or anyone else that drives a Honda Fit or a Corolla or something that's just not a Phantom or a Rolls Royce or a Bentley, right? So in my mind, I'm like, well, how did that conversation go? Did Lisa go up to her housekeeper and be like, hi, sorry, do you mind if I borrow your car today? I need to look a little bit more poor to prove a point to these ladies. Yeah, yeah. You get it? Like, of course, the housekeeper probably said yes because she wants to keep her job. But like, imagine how that makes the housekeeper look and feel. Like, sorry, I love Lisa, but like that was totally not necessary. And I agree with Gertie. This whole thing backfired because you're putting a lot of people out by making a statement like this, like as if like, oh, look how poor I am driving in my Honda Fit. Like, no, some people don't value cars and lease payments that are $3, $4, $5,000 a month. They just don't. They like, I wouldn't. I'm not, I don't care. I don't care how much money I have. I'm not spending $5,000 a month or whatever it costs to have a Phantom or whatever. I'm not Now, I'm not a Honda type person, but that's not because I think Hondas are beneath me. Maybe I just haven't met the right Honda yet. I don't know. But my point is that it seems like Lisa really felt certain type of way because Julia questioned. I don't think she was questioning her motherhood, but she questioned when Lisa showed up at this opera event that Julia was throwing for her wife. It it was odd because just a little bit before that, they found out that the police were called to Lisa and Lenny's house. Well, then Lisa shows up. So of course people are like, well, where are the kids? You left them there? Like, I don't think it was coming off judgmental. I just was like, well, to me, Julia was coming off like, well, where was your mind at? Like, I wouldn't have left. But Lisa picks a bone, like, has a bone to pick with Julia about this. And so they start going at it. And Lisa wants an apology. She's demanding Julia apologize for questioning her motherhood or talking about her kids, which Julia wasn't talking about her kids. But nonetheless, Julia stands firm that she doesn't have anything to apologize for because she didn't say anything bad about her children. If anything, she was asking because it was perplexing. I would have probably asked that question because I wouldn't have left my kids at home after something like that. But again, I'm not here to judge Lisa. There's a lot going on there, and a lot of it we probably don't even know. So who knows? But all I know is that this Mamacita luncheon was popping off before they could even get their plates, before they could even get a few poems written. It was insanity. The fact that we had all the storm outs, like I would have just called it a day and said, forget it. This luncheon's over. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, well, I think there was 8 walkouts. Like, first it was Alexia and Marisol, so there's 2. Then we have Lisa Hochstein. Then we have Kiki. Then we have Gertie. Who else stormed out? I'm sure there's a couple more people that stormed out throughout this luncheon. But what was funny was a lot of the things that I think a lot of people were waiting for because Anna arrives with Adriana finally. But I'm sorry, I don't. This was like another Denise Richards moment to me. Why are we building this up like Anna's coming in here like she's about to do something and she didn't say more than 3 or 4 words? So I guess Adriana's plan backfired. But, you know, when Larsa tried to call Adriana out, Adriana was just like, oh, well, I know what my comeback to Larsa is going to be always. Well, you were in LA for 10 years licking the Kardashians' asshole, so you wouldn't know Anna or what she said and done or who she is. And I just love that because it's these two can literally go at it, but they're like still friends. This is why I love this show. The friendships continuously evolve. People bicker, they fight, they yell at each other, they cry, then they laugh, then they're making out. It's just spectacular television. And I know a lot of you guys think a lot of it's put on or a production, and maybe to some degree it is in some instances, but overall, I find it to be a very authentic, engaged cast of women that truly know each other outside the show. These are not just castmates. They know each other. They've known each other for a decade plus. So I really value that they're back on our screens. However, I will say in terms of, and I've said this before, the overall production value with it being back on Bravo versus when it was on Peacock only really, in my opinion, has watered down the overall production value. I'm sure there's different budget constraints. I'm not sure how all of that works when it goes from one platform to another. But when it was on Peacock, the colors popped more, the edits were nicer, the interview segments looked better. This season feels like there's a lot of harsh lighting. It's not as, I mean, sometimes, not always. Some of the interviews look great, but then some of them, it's just like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? So outside of the production value, in my opinion, being watered down by being moved to Bravo, I would say this is a top tier franchise. I would say it's actually a lot more entertaining than Beverly Hills is this season. So there's that. Now, I know a lot of you guys told me too, you guys weren't watching because of Larsa, or you didn't like the cast for the most part, or you felt a lot of it was put on. But then a lot of you guys, alarmingly, and this is a note to Bravo, a lot of you didn't even know it was back on Bravo, didn't even know it was airing. And then there was a good amount of you that thought it's just still on Peacock. So you're waiting for Thursday. So we're not getting those live viewers on Wednesday night because it's duh, they don't know. Also, I believe last week they put it on a lot later than they normally would have. So I think that killed. I just feel like people are missing out on something that's truly a gem. But, anyways, that's my rant on that. Let me continue recapping the episode for you guys because it doesn't stop there. So Alexia and Marisol make their way back to the Mamacita luncheon. And they walk in as if they didn't just have a hissy fit, storm out, take their jackets, and scream and yell out the door. They walk in and they're like, how? Then they sit down and we're all like, okay. There's a little bit of back and forth with Alexia and Anna, but Anna came off to me like she was much more comfortable on David Yontef's podcast talking a lot of smack about these ladies because they did show us those clips again. And she was definitely talking smack about Lisa Hochstein. She was definitely talking smack about Marisol. And I'm sure she said other things about the other cast members. But nonetheless, she wasn't even like, at least own up to it and be like, well, yeah, you did. Or, yeah, I did say that. You know, she didn't. She was just like, tell me what I said. Of course, no one's going to say it because I don't think anyone cares that much to bring it to her attention because they all know that she has. Now, I don't really know Anna that much. I know her from being on the show previously. I thought she was great back then, but something, maybe she was rusty. I don't know. Maybe it was too forced on Adriana's part, trying to get Anna to come on and do her dirty work. But shout out to Adriana, who's the hardest working friend of all the franchises. I mean, this woman is pounding the pavement, looking to get vengeance where she can and who she can get it with. So shout out to her. I hope that she's being paid like a full-time housewife because she's pretty much a full-time housewife and working for every moment on our screen. So there's that. But we pan to Julia, who already knows that Adriana has kind of put it out there that Anna's the one that's been saying that the Alexia and Todd have had these financial problems, and that's the real reason why they have to quickly move out of their place and look for another place. But from Alexia's point, it was a different story. It was that the landlord who owned it sold it, and that is why they have to quickly move. So who knows what the truth is? I don't think anyone's broke over there by any means. But hey, we never know what's really going on in people's bank accounts. Not that it's always our business, but they are on a show where they're living pretty lavish. So I guess it will come up. So from there, it's getting a little too intense. Alexia throws some jabs at Nicole and saying, well, you know, this is probably why your mom's not even at this Mother's Day lunch because even your mom says you're mean. And then they flash back to, you know, Nicole's mom telling her you can be mean. But I don't think that's what it was. I don't think that really matters in the scheme of things because it wasn't for everyone to bring their mothers to this. It was for the mothers that are in this group already to come together. So I don't know why Nicole's mom being there or not being there rather would have mattered because it's not like she invited the ladies and their mothers. So there's that. But I do think that unfortunately Nicole's going to be the scapegoat for this. But after that, we have Julia having Adriana at her house for some lunch and a catch up. And, you know, I really like Julia because Julia, even though she's really close to Adriana and they're besties, she has no problem holding her accountable and being transparent with how she feels around certain behaviors Adriana displays and things like that. But also this season, Julia is getting closer to Alexia. So being in the crossfires of whatever Adriana's plot was to have Anna kind of drop this bomb about Alexia's finances or lack thereof, I think that kind of dawned on her like this was too pre-populated, pre-planned, pre-strategized, and it was the end result was to ensue conflict, right? Even though the conflict happened way before Adriana showed up, because let's be clear, she was late. Like, I don't even understand. Like, this was your moment. You should have been there with Anna from the get-go. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, it didn't pan out. Julia lets Adriana know she doesn't feel comfortable with this, doesn't like this behavior. Adriana doesn't like hearing that from Julia because she feels Julia should just be loyal to her no matter what. But at the end of the day, this is where Julia has to separate herself from Adriana because she's got to be able to. You can't be too buddied up with someone else on the cast because then it leaves you kind of in a corner and you don't get to expand your relationships within the cast. So I am liking that Julia's kind of standing on her own a little bit more. We also have, the fact that Gertie's also going into surgery. So at that luncheon, she had to get up and excuse herself because she was like, I'm going into surgery tomorrow. I don't need to be stressed out about unnecessary drama and toxicity. So when we get to the scene where Gertie is getting herself prepared to go into surgery, it gets very emotional for Gertie because, she calls her parents, they say a prayer, and then, her mom breaks down and it got me very emotional because then I realized too, and Gertie reminded us, in case we forgot, which I sadly did forget, but in her first season, Gertie explained that her brother and his children uh, died in that, I think it was a hurricane or a storm or something like that in Haiti. And so that obviously is triggering for Gertie's mother, who's now watching her daughter on FaceTime go in to have surgery to remove something from her breast that's cancerous. There's no way to slice and dice that. That is going to send anyone into a full panic because it's triggering. She's already lost a son and some grandchildren all at the same time. So, you know, but the blessing here, well, there's two. The first blessing is Russell. That man, okay, that man he deserves the House Husband of the Year award. He shows up, he supports Gertie, he's gentle with her, but he's still strong and he is totally exactly what Gertie needs in this moment. This is when this stuff counts. In my opinion, when the chips are all the way down and your partner can just show up for you and silently support you or give you the support you need, that's it right there. All the other stuff is golden. Of course, everyone's fine and dandy when life's great. But when one of you is down, that's when your partnership really starts. That's when you show up. And Russell's proven that he shows up and he supports his wife through thick and thin, through sickness and in health. That is someone who took his vows seriously. And so I always respect anyone that stands firm and has integrity and, moves with love. I absolutely love the scene of her coming back and seeing her boys at the house and the cards they left her. It was just very touching. And I've said this at the beginning of the season. I'm not sure how Gertie dealt with all of this going on while filming the show, because quite frankly, this is enough to have someone lock themselves in the house and not come back out until they're ready. She got up every day, she filmed, she let them in on every experience that she could let them in on. And that takes a lot. So shout out to Gertie for being strong enough to share this part of her life with us. And shout out to Russell, because I think this makes you like the hottest house husband that there is right now. So all in all, I think this episode was really good. I think all the episodes have offered a lot of entertainment, a lot of turnover in terms of we're not getting the same stale fights over and over again. It seems like we are in a groove. But, I think we're at the midway point of the season. So, we'll see where it picks up from here. It looks like next week we have Alexia going and looking for new places. So that'll be interesting to see where she ends up settling. And, we didn't get a lot of talk about Lenny this episode, which was good because a lot of the feedback you guys gave me last week when I made that post about why aren't you watching Miami, a lot of you, a good amount of you said you couldn't hear about Lenny anymore. Lenny, 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 Lenny. And I get it. I get it. Unfortunately, though, this has been a big eyesore in Lisa's life and it's been playing out publicly. So I think for her, that's all she can talk about. I can't say that I wouldn't be the same. Honestly, I'm not in her shoes, so I don't know. So I'm not going to say I wouldn't be talking that much about it. I might be. I don't know. Look, I said this morning, I am working on my vindictive spirit. Because yes, I'm not perfect, guys. I have a little bit of that vindictiveness in me. And it's really because I don't like to see things that are not just. Or if I see injustice happening, even if it's not happening to me and I see everyone else's mute on it, I'm the first person to meet you there with the conflict of my opinion being like, this doesn't look right, doesn't sound right, doesn't smell right. This doesn't look like justly, like, but, for me, I'm balancing that out. And so I think with Lisa, she's still in that vindictive space with all of this, and rightfully so. He did her dirty, like dirty. So you can say what you want about Lisa Hochstein, question her, do all that. But the truth of the matter is that would be it for a lot of people. That's a lot, to have to deal with and then film and then expose that piece of your life that is typically something a lot of people would keep a lot of that detail to themselves, right? But I think we're going to see a turning point with Lisa Hochstein by the end of the season. I feel like even now she's in a really good space, much better space than she was probably when she was filming this current season that's playing. But yeah, I think the episode was, if I was going to rate it out of 10, I would give it a solid 8. I don't think we need any more people from the past being brought back on the show unless they're going to bring it. Because otherwise, why are you here, Anna, Denise? To me, it doesn't make sense. You're wasting everyone's time, and it just feels like you really just wanted to be on the show. I don't think this is Anna's way back in on the show. I don't. So you guys let me know your thoughts, though, on Anna and her return. It looks like it's a 1 episode wonder for her because I don't see any other point unless they bring her back again for whatever reason. But I think Adriana's going to have to be the one to like take the blame for this at some point, at least when people start watching it back. So because it's looking like they're going to leave Nicole as the scapegoat, which we already know Alexia is very triggered by Nicole. I think I don't want to say a lot of the women. Some of the women are triggered by Nicole. And I think it's because Nicole is cool. She's got her own job. She's got her own stuff. And she's in a happy, what seems to be healthy relationship with a successful man. And she doesn't come off in any way, which is why I really adore her, because I love anyone that has whatever they need, right? And more. And they're still humble and they still act respectfully and they don't treat others like they're beneath them. And that to me is what I adore about Nicole, is that she's down to earth. She doesn't care that they just sold their last house to Jeff Bezos. Like that would be enough for anybody to come in with their nose up in the air, at least for a week or two. She doesn't come off that way. She is a woman of the people. She has a good heart. You can tell. So I love, love, love Nicole. I love this whole cast, but Nicole was a definite solid pick for a cast choice. Solid. So hats off to those people that recruited her for the show, because this is great. Love her energy. I love all the ladies together. I think they have a pizzazz about them and a chemistry. I know I sound like I'm trying to sell you guys on this show, but I really do enjoy watching it. So, for those of you that still are on the fence about watching it, I would suggest giving it give it another shot. I'm just saying. in comparison to what's going on, specifically with the finale on Salt Lake City, I know it's going to be hard to watch any other episode and not be like, oh, it wasn't as epic as the Salt Lake City finale, which, let's be clear, nothing is going to size up to that for a long time. But that's the recap, guys. That's the recap from Miami. I want to know what you guys think as always. Let me know also, what did you think about Anna's return? Did you feel like it fell flat? Did you feel like it was a waste of time like I did? I'd love to know your thoughts. And please also let me know about the quick tea that I discussed with you guys with the leaked audio from the real Andy of Beverly Hills regarding what Monica was saying in those voice memos. Love to know your thoughts and continue unpacking that. But until next episode, which will be Monday, so we will be going back to Monday through Friday. A new episode will drop every day, every work day of the week. So Monday through Friday, you can look forward to new episodes of the Giorgio Says podcast. If you're not following me on TikTok, what are you doing? At Giorgio Says, also on Instagram. And if you want to watch this, you can do so on my YouTube channel or on Spotify. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up for a Friday. I hope you guys all enjoy the weekend. It seems like we might be getting some snow allegedly here on the East Coast. It is quite cold today. So I'm kind of looking forward to some snow, kind of like a snow day. But I will talk to you guys on Monday. And I love you guys and stay safe. Bye.